enjoy the show. Play on my channel.
So, yeah, no, Brianna unfortunately had family plans, so I couldn't do the show alone. I could. I didn't want to. So, thank you for joining us. Just a message to everybody to like, share, follow, hit the little icon on the YouTube channel just to watch our show and, like us. But I wanted to first introduce you. You're Tony Brown, the one and only. Tony is a realtor, so he sells the houses extraordinarily, and he acts. Anything else you want to tell us about yourself?
Oh yeah, man, I've been an actor. This is actually my 20th year as a professional. I sell real estate. I'm an entrepreneur, so I have multiple businesses that deal in and around real estate, from selling real estate investing. I'm a licensed loan originator as well.
Okay.
Insurance agent, and state notary.
Okay.
So many wonderful things.
Well, that's awesome. I did hear a little story from your friend Matthew Bucarell that when you guys were in school together, he said that you needed to be an actor or like something along those lines. So it was either model or actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he loves to tell that story, and I think it's awesome. So even your friends knew.
Oh yeah. I've been going since forever.
Okay.
So I'm just, it's one of those things where when you're a kid, everybody says, "Oh, what are you really gonna do in life?"
Mm-hmm.
And here I am, pushing 38, and I'm still doing it. So.
Well, that's amazing. That is absolutely a hero's tale. So you definitely, yeah. Now I have to not jump right into things and jump right into things at the same time. We are a podcast that deals with relationships and the dreaded S word. By the way, I got blocked from a page that didn't even listen to the podcast, and they read the title and said that it is inappropriate and I should be ashamed of myself. So I will tell you, if you feel that.
Real life.
Huh?
They'd be ashamed of real life things.
Right,
like
exactly.
Come on.
So the next time somebody does, just, like, share, follow, and, make sure you hit that little bell. But so the real reason that we are here is because I like to get male perspectives. And I actually spent the day today getting male perspectives on a lot of topics. The reason I wanted to have you on is because, and you can tell me as much as you want to or don't want to talk about something, we do encourage the safe word. So if you have a safe word, something that you're just like, no, I don't really want to talk about, totally acceptable. But you have just gone through something that most of us have all gone through in the last year. And most of us, I'm saying it's a very small group of friends, but we all seem to have the same outcome. You have recently gone through the process of a divorce.
Yeah, still am.
Okay. So
don't mean to laugh at it.
You know what? If we don't laugh, we cry. And it's not because we're sad or upset about everything. We just are upset that we're in that situation. Unfortunately, a friend of me and Matt's today started the process. And by I say started the process, literally heard maybe 5 minutes after I got off the phone with him that it was done.
Oh wow!
And he was
filing.
Yeah, the ever so disinvite of, hey, look, I know I don't want to trap you, so here you go. So me and Brianna have touched on what it's like to be the female in that position, and we've talked about that and the trust. And I kind of want to hear from a male position, or like where you stand on this when you're going through these things in life. Do you let it affect every decision you make?
For me, I know I moved a little bit different because I had some other friends that told me that, most of the people that they knew would have been crushed by it. Mm-hmm. Going in, I mean, I listened to a lot of different people's experiences going into it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like it was overnight where it's like you just woke up and it's like, oh my God, relationship over, filing for divorce. It was a steady decline to where it hit the end. But through that decline, while I'm trying to save my marriage, and it wasn't reciprocated, I'm learning at the same time. I'm following other people who have gone through things so that what seemingly was unexpected happened, but I was kind of mentally prepared. Um, and I mean, I know you know the personal details of it all, but mentally, I did my best not to let it affect my, outside of just my relationship life, which it's all connected regardless. But I had, the business I'm in, I deal with other people's lives, and in no way was I going to let that affect them. And also, I wasn't going to let it stop me from progressing in life. Just a speed bump, but I'm just going to ride the turbulence, and
Right.
through that, it smooths out, because it's based on me seeing even some of my close friends who have gone through some insane things, and I'm seeing where they are today, how life has dealt them a better hand. That was just all inspiration for me to just approach it with the positive energy. I didn't let it get me down. You have your down moments a lot, but I just refuse to let it crush me and
Right.
take me out of, everything else that I do and I know knowing it to get better. So I'm like, why waste the time on putting my head down, being upset, and just get over it in a sense. Dig deep within
Right.
yourself and get to the next chapter as soon as possible, and don't waste no time at all.
Now,
And it's better.
I will tell the story of how me and you got introduced to each other. So Matt had told me, I had left my situation probably about a month before, and Matt had told me that you needed somebody to reach out to you. And he was not wrong on that sense, because one of my closest friends was just handed to me and said, here, you might want to call them and see how they're doing. And that's what happened. I called you. I wanted to see how you were doing, and I haven't stopped talking to you since. And it was probably the best thing that in recovery from this situation that you need is the people who, talk to and
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Vent, share stories. Just knowing that I lost one person, and through this all, I gained so many more, that if I was able to talk to the me before, it all happened,
Mm-hmm.
today's me talk to the past me wouldn't even believe it.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you ever watch like TikTok videos or wherever, like what would I explain to myself at 10 years old from the things I learned today? 10-year-old me would be flabbergasted. She would be like, this is what's going to happen, and maybe you can make better choices. And then you're like, no, I'd rather make these mistakes. But now I have to ask you, when you were married, did you feel like your voice was kind of being a little bit stifled? Like you weren't allowed to speak how you wanted to or what you wanted to say?
No, I was, outside of the most recent, I'd say 2.5 years or so, leading up to it. Prior to that, I mean, I was, I led the relationship, and she listened and she contributed. There was no, I approached it as like we're our own government of one, but we are two individuals agreeing to operate as one. So I kind of looked at it like, like politics. You have, the one United States, but then you have your two parties.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for a law to get passed, everybody has to agree. So it's like anytime decisions were made or anything like that, it wasn't like I didn't even want to be the sole decision maker. I wanted to, I didn't want a person that was always going to say yes. I wanted somebody that was going to, and vice versa. I wanted somebody that can challenge an idea, debate within the house, and then we progress from there.
You use the key word that I've been using all day, which is challenge. Mm-hmm. You use that word and you didn't even know that I've said it 4 different times today. But going back to the speaking and the voice and finding your voice, in my situation, once I left, I found my voice because I ask a lot of questions. So the one thing about me, whether it's, so I don't drink anymore, but the other thing, once I get to that point, I don't have a filter. So I ask questions and I find my voice, and I'm like, I also remember things. So like a year ago, I would have never questioned anything. I would have never said something. I would have never been like, oh my God, what do you mean when you said that? But it's not really, it's just finding your voice.
Right.
And even if you're not noticing that you do that, ever since I've met you, you've gotten a lot more confident.
Mm-hmm.
So even if
Yeah.
you don't think you were allowed to speak, you were.
I think I was probably prior before, like when I was during the marriage, like I was selfless to the point where, you know, I would, I did things not for me.
Right.
Like I would say, like I didn't care about me anymore. I wanted to, I was selfless for my spouse the entire time. So it was just kind of being on my own and everything. It was really a challenge at first to kind of find me, but I just threw myself out there. I started doing things that I never did before. Like I actually hang out with my friends, talk, catch up, do things that I enjoyed personally. And after constantly doing it, I kind of got into the rhythm now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing what I always wanted to do. This time I'm just by myself, it gave me time to relearn all the things I used to do before I was even in such a long-term relationship.
Okay.
And which I was willing to give up those things, which was a piece of me for the relationship. But the way it happened and ended, that pretty much told me that you can't do that. You got to be for you, even when you're sharing yourself with someone else, not
Exactly.
sacrificing yourself for someone else.
So I totally agree with you on that one. I do believe in a relationship, you've got two people. They are each their own separate people. They don't become one person. It's not the,
Correct.
you know what I mean? That's why I hate the reference when it comes to the ribs and like the, what is it? Adam and Eve. Because
Right.
I don't believe that somebody should, and we're not getting into a conversation of religion, I promise, but I do not believe that somebody should be affected because of their partner's mistake or whatever the case is. Like, I don't even know if this directly had anything to do with what we were talking about, but it did feel good to get that out because I do think it has a lot to do with that. Like,
Yeah.
definitely two separate entities in that one. Now, I have to ask you, because this is the friend of mine in question who's going through a rough time right now, brought up one thing before he got the inevitable text message, and it was a text message, which is awful. But he was complaining the lack of intimacy. So, and which is something that I hope he understands that when it comes to intimacy in a relationship, you both got to work for it.
Yeah.
If one little thing splinters that intimacy, splinters that connection, it is very hard to put it back.
Yeah. It's intimacy. I mean, I'm sure it has to work, both ways.
Mm-hmm.
I was married for 12 years. I was together for 14.
Okay.
And I would say like intimacy it probably lacked for a lot of the years, in and out, here and there. And I'm a very affectionate person with my spouse, and I love intimacy. But I was sacrificing again myself for my spouse. She wasn't being she wasn't reciprocating that intimacy
Right.
often, and it took me finding myself and even hitting the dating scene a little bit to realize I do like PDA, public display of affection. Whereas before
too.
you could have never seen me even get around people. We didn't show those things behind the scenes, sure, here and there, but
You know what also, it's not just that PDA is, in my opinion, it's not just that it's hugs, kisses, whatever. It's the hand on the lower back. It's the words. It's the whispering things into the ears. Something that if you're not comfortable with PDA, at least there's those little touches.
right. yeah, all the displays of affection.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
it's
I
so funny
realized,
because I always say that my, what do they call it? Your, like some people have gift giving, some people have like their, in terms of their love language. Thank you from the peanut gallery on the side. Thank you. The love language. Mine is, and it always has been gift giving. But I've learned in my healing process that it can also be listening. It can also be, like you said, the little touches, the little whatever. But that's just who I am. And I do have, like, I don't know. I have a newfound respect for the PDAs.
yeah.
I never liked it when I was married. Never. But I also think it's who you're with.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
yeah, some people, they bring out the best in you. Some people bring out,
well, some people, they're dry. They're like a saltine cracker. And you're like, oh, God. Like,
right.
they're like,
Yeah.
but it's, it can be also buying somebody a soda or, whatever. Like, if you are doing nothing, like some people, like, I don't know, so your situation, if nobody's reciprocating that, it's just, I don't know, it's just,
The
it's a
recipe for
saltine
disaster.
cracker. It's a saltine cracker.
Yeah, I think that's important for people to in
Mhm.
relationship. You got to pay attention to it. It's something you should be aware of with your spouse. Although, I mean, being married, it's part of it is that you made the commitment. So I always looked at it as it's one thing that could be worked through. So anything that came up in a relationship, things could be worked on and worked through. Minus if someone cheats, that's a
Right.
dead end road for me. That's the end all be all. But
Well,
not anything for me could be worked on. And you should at least try. It shouldn't be like one little thing happens and she's not affectionate anymore. Let me leave the marriage. Like that's just
right.
And you're growing with your partner too. So we all have changes. I mean, I can't sit here and say I'm the same person mentally, physically as I was at 20.
Right.
And along the way, there's many mental changes. A lot of things change. It's the same with your spouse. And sometimes things can, mentally change with people along the
Right.
way for the worse. And there's nothing you could do about it then.
Have you ever heard of pilophobia? Pila phobia. So pilophobia is a fear of commitment and relationship, mostly acquired by people who have been divorced or hurt or anything like that. I know it hasn't been a very long time, but almost a year, but when you got out of that relationship, were you scared to jump right into another one?
I wasn't.
Okay.
It really just didn't affect me in that way. I like relationships, like situation. I like to be able to, I'm a very ambitious person. And if somebody wants to be my ride or die right next to me to achieve with me and whatever goals they have, if I can help them achieve as well.
Right.
And we both grow together and make something happen in this life. I'm always open to it because I definitely, I was exploring different relationships.
Okay.
Probably early. And I felt like it was part of the growing process for me to quickly relearn myself.
Do you think it was too early?
Some of I feel like everybody was part of the process to help me learn. Because I learned a lot, but it doesn't scare me away from, when I go out with someone, there's now, if it turns into something and it becomes long-term, I'm not afraid of it or anything. But if not, I'm okay with myself.
Now, I was never afraid to be in a relationship after leaving another one. It is a little bit scary, but it's not at the same time. Now, a little fun fact about me, I've never been on an actual date. Like, nobody's ever picked me up and taken me out for a ride. But I want to ask you, when you go out on dates, and I feel like I can ask you this question. I feel like we've been friends for long enough. When you go out on dates, what is the ultimate plan as a newly single guy who goes, you know, what is the ultimate plan when you go out on a date?
Ultimate plan. So I actually,
And I saw the face you made, but we'll let you proceed.
yeah. So I was actually thrusted into the dating world. It's new to me. It was completely new to me, and I probably did too much too soon for some people.
Well, it all depends on how you feel. If you feel like you did not do too much too soon, that is your preference.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I personally wanted, because I still enjoy doing a lot of things that I love to do, and how I saw it was, I got to some new people, meet them, learn the things that they like, and I was still open to that kind of thing, just learning what they like to do and everything, and incorporating that into what I like to do. So my dates were me listening to them and just kind of like, say if they were like, they like this certain kind of restaurant or activity, like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put together like an itinerary to I'm gonna I like private drivers and things like that. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a private driver, and then we're gonna hit the restaurant she likes and the
Fancy.
activity she likes. So I'm like enjoying it.
Wait, the
how
key
I do
words.
things.
The key words. Activities she likes and things that she likes. Never once did I hear you say things that I would like to or things we would like. You're very...
Yeah, I'm always, like I said, I'm just like naturally selfless. Part of that though, it's like when I said like I like the private drive or something, and like driver to take us around and do these things that she likes, and then that's how I approach a date. And then as we get to know each other, I'll show her things that I like to do, and then I get to see if those things that I like to do,
right,
she's enjoying it, because I know if that person is not enjoying the things I enjoy, or and vice versa.
No, I think
it's probably not gonna go far.
I think this is the perfect time to ask the question that all our female listeners and all of them want to hear. There's a lot of them. Are you single now?
I am.
Okay.
I am
So you're still
single.
doing the date thing, and you're still doing the like meeting
I'm out
people.
there.
You know what? It
Yeah.
is always a good idea to stay off the websites, off the Facebook stuff, and just go out. And I know you are a go out type of person, but just
yeah.
going out and meeting people, it's so funny because now when I was married and I wasn't looking, I met all the guys, all of them. They just were like, they in droves, they just came to me. Now, that is because I had a wedding ring on and I was married. Do you find that going out, talking to women, doing like if they're wearing a wedding ring, they'll still keep talking? Like, have you that was my biggest question. Have you encountered that? And how do you keep them at bay?
I haven't. I actually respect. I look.
Do you?
I literally,
Okay.
if I see somebody, I look for their hand for the ring. So.
Because I always wondered that people who look for it scares me to look at a guy's at any time I would, even when I was younger, and especially when I was younger. Before I was married, got married for the first time, I would go out to bars all the time. I would not talk to guys if they didn't have a wedding ring on. But in my head, or if they did have a wedding ring on, in my head, I'm going, but what if they take it off and they're there? Like I scared myself out as a 20-year-old. I scared myself out of going to bars anymore to meet guys. So don't listen to me when I tell you to go out and meet people too. It's scary.
I know it is. It's scary online. I mean, the amount of like catfishing and
Right.
people were. I found that a lot of people make their profile say one thing and they don't mean it. It's
Well,
dishonest profile bios, and
I also wanted to state this too, because I've encountered quite a few guys over the last, like friends of mine, quite a few male friends of mine who are like, you know what? All women suck. All women suck. Now, I was my main question for you. I was like,
hold on. I just was talking to I just had my friend. I just went on a couple of dates, and I literally messaged my friends, my guy friends, and I was like, if you believe the internet saying that the dating world sucks, then people need to look like inward of themselves. because I don't agree. At first, when I first started, I was like, it's kind of crazy out there. And when I adjusted to it, meeting people and everything, I was like, no, this is actually pretty good. If you go into the dating world using, if you listen to the internet on how you should date, you're going into it, you're about to date someone, going into the date the same way 1,000 other guys are going to go into that date.
I'd like you to preach that one again for the people in the back who could not hear.
If you pay attention to what people are saying online about the dating world, and you go into your date like, oh, I'm going to take her to a coffee shop. Oh, who's going to pay for this date? We're going to split the bill, instead of going in being who you are.
Why does that matter? Why does that matter? See, this is what bugs the crap out of me about women. Now, I am a woman, obviously, and I bug the crap out of myself most of the time. I bug the crap out of your friend, too, who I know on a daily is like rolling his eyes going, what the hell do I have to endure today? But women can be such bitches. And the reason why is because why are you going to go into any date going, what's he going to buy me? What am I going to have to pay for? It is so ridiculous, because here's my idea of a perfect date. Let's go on a hike. Let's not spend any money, bring drinks from home, and go out on a hike. I don't give a shit about, $500. Like, oh my God, the women who, especially on social media, like TikTok, all you see are these women who are like, I just want a Mercedes and they better drive a Benz. And I don't even know if those are two separate cars. Like, that's how not with it I am with that stuff. Like Mercedes and they're having coronaries in the back, because I don't know what a Mercedes is, and that I think a Mercedes and a Benz are the same thing.
We're a good C-class. Start with a good C-class.
Well, I feel like the internet makes you think it's everyone, and that's and I so far in my dating and everything, it just can't be. I don't believe that to be true. I believe there's so many good people out there that are still single, and no matter what. My thing is, like, when I'm dating, I don't want to be dating the person that's single because they were the cheater.
Exactly.
Like,
no,
to me, it's a whole character flaw.
Exactly.
Cheaters,
so
I don't want that person.
I left my last relationship a hot mess. But I was always told I'm not like the others. And that goes for anybody, because you could even say the same thing to me. I had the mentality that every guy I dated, or, they were coming back, like they were all coming back in another form. The same way all guys aren't the same, all women aren't the same either. And it's like a learned thing.
Yeah, I feel like you just gotta, when people are dating, they just gotta bring themselves into the date, because literally the last person I went on 2 dates with, the first date, I drove to, actually the last couple dates or whatever, I drove to their location.
Okay.
That was no problem for me. It wasn't, but then I realized they're used to guys coming and saying, meet me halfway. And as a guy, I mean, you're still a man. It's a little old school with that. You're still meeting somebody new, not to just be like you're meeting them and date number 2, you got to be in a relationship with them.
So,
and I'm also not a serial dater. Like if I'm getting to know one person,
right,
I want to get to know them. So right there, I stop the dating.
I don't have enough time in the day to know 5 or 6 people. It amazes me the ones who have relationships, but they're like, okay, so I have Paul on Monday and I have Chris on Tuesday, Paul again on Wednesday, I have Sean on Thursday. Like, that's it. Like, how are you getting to know anybody? Now, do you believe in friends first?
Oh, I do.
Okay.
I believe that's probably the most important thing. And being upfront, like if I like to be upfront, if I like someone and I think it could go further, and then I'll tell them, like, I'm only seeing you, like I'm not, which I think that should help people be more comfortable.
Well, you would think that women would be the ones who would be more comfortable with that. The men I've talked to, it's all, oh my God, if she tells me I'm the only guy she's seeing, it's like, that's it. That's his girl.
Well, as long as everybody's open and honest with what they're doing, because it would suck to be like you're out and about and the person that you've been dating and thinking that you're falling for is out with someone else, and right there you just, it's kind of like being when you're in a relationship. When I hear like on the internet, everybody's like, your spouse is going out wearing this and stuff. Why would you want to make your spouse uncomfortable?
Right.
You know what I mean?
love to hear the things like, wear whatever you want. If you're comfortable in it, wear whatever you want, because your person knows you're not going to go out there and flaunt your shit for somebody else, but they're still giving you the freedom, because it brings us back to two separate people. When
Correct.
you get into,
and if that person is not for you, it's just not for you.
Exactly.
Billions of people, like there's no, and I don't get how people double back to a relationship that didn't work. And
no, there's obviously a reason it didn't work. There's no need to rehash that trauma. We all got enough of it. We don't need any more. But I do think your story and your journey is definitely amazing. I didn't want to get too, demanding of answering questions, but do you have any? Okay, so here's a question I just thought of that I really think would be amazing to answer. Do you have any advice for 10-year-old you? Since we were just talking about that not too long ago.
10-year-old me? I would say I would probably tell 10-year-old me to be more confident way sooner in everything.
Okay.
I mean, I have no regrets going back and thinking through my life, so it was all
for a reason.
Yeah, and it feels good with where I'm at today. I'm like, I felt like I did great. So
right.
I would tell 10-year-old me, stay the course. Be confident a little sooner with everything you do. Don't shy away from anything. I think being shy was something I ended up carrying all my life. Like when it comes even in relationships, like I was not accustomed to like approaching a woman, but if I felt pressure and I really liked someone, I mustered up the strength and I would do it. I mean, even going back to high school me, when I remember prom was coming up and there was a girl that I wanted to specifically ask. Yeah, she wasn't like in my friends group or anything. She just was in a couple of my classes, and all I remember is the pressure I felt waiting to the end of class. And I know Matt remembers the teacher, psychology.
The psychology teacher?
Yeah.
At Oxford?
Yep. He remember her?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he shook his head yes, but you wanted to know if he remembered who that teacher was?
Yeah.
Miss Bosch?
Yeah, no, but
Miss Bosch?
That's
it.
Yes. Yeah, she was great. But I remember sitting there, and as the final bell rang and everybody left, it felt like it was made for me to be challenged that day, because she stayed behind.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed behind, but the only difference was the teacher was in the room and her best friend at that time I stayed behind. So with her. So now I had to do this and ask her to prom in front of her friend. And I can remember her friend's face. Like just the awe, like,
aww.
And so I mustered up the strength. I walked up to her and I mean, needless to say, she said that they're going as a group of friends. So it was it was a no, but it wasn't like the no, not with you.
Yeah, it was kind of like they were going as friends, but you can meet up with them there, type of situation. I guess she was like inviting you, but not inviting.
Yeah, they're going to be there as a group.
Now
I ended up going with someone else, but
I never went to prom, any prom. Is it as much fun as everybody says, or is it kind of just like a rite of passage?
I feel like it's probably just like more like the rite of passage.
Well, it's kind of expensive too, right? I heard.
Yeah. My family didn't spend much on it. Yeah, we got the tux situation and everything, but that was about it.
Well, if I did go to prom, I would probably just try to like reduce, that type of situation where you go and like rent a dress or whatever. But yeah, I never went. Plus, it was Upper Darby High School. Upper Darby wasn't like, it was definitely not like Oxford. So there's way too many kids.
It's
but
quite different.
Yeah, just trying to think if there's anything else. I had all these questions in the beginning, but I think that, like I said, your story is pretty freaking awesome. How you picked yourself up, and it does go to prove that everybody heals at different rates.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I
Great.
healed fast, but it happened after mine did, and you were, you're not fully healed, but you were started the
Right.
healing process so much quicker, which is good.
I mean, that's from learning from other people's
Right.
situations and just knowing, like, you know what, I'm going to thrust myself
Mhm.
into different situations that help pull me up quickly.
Right.
You know, just doing a hundred things, even going out and meeting people and talking to new women. I even, for a short period of time, I mean, I ended up in another relationship uh, with an older woman. Yeah, I'm sure you remember. And
There are
I mean, that was
benefits.
good.
There are benefits to being your friend because I get to hear everything before the podcast.
Yeah.
But yes, no, I remember.
Yeah. So and that was another learning experience too. Because the first half of that I mentally getting committed, but then I learned more lessons,
Right.
and now I basically that helped me take another step back and just learn more about myself. Because I'm also not out there to try to hurt anyone either. So, I'm a positive energy kind of guy. So.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So it's so funny because I had a question to ask you, and I've been trying to ask you this question and remember it, and I forgot it again. But it's it's a really good question. Oh, challenge. That's it. So I pride myself on being a challenge in a good way. I love to be classified as a challenge because I don't think anything that is just handed to you is worth fighting for.
No.
So
Nothing.
I do have to tell you on a woman's perspective, when you do when you do encounter a challenge, keep going for it. Keep going for it. Don't stop just because it's a challenging situation or the person is challenging. The best people are. And as long as I don't know, if you're not a religious person, that's fine, but God doesn't give you anything you can't handle. And I've grown up with that. Not a religious person at all, but it's the truth. If you do believe in God, He has given you everything He's given you everything. Everything's predestined out. Everything is, you're just following along the path. Or you can start a new one. But I do think a challenge is what keeps us young and keeps us going.
Oh yeah. What's the point of it goes to say it's about the journey, not the destination. And
I
think
love
as
that.
soon as you realize, I do too. Like
It's
as soon as you
about
realize
the
that
journey, not the destination.
when you start to embrace everything that's happening between those moments,
Mhm.
and that's what I saw in my friends when they went through something, and then where they are today. And it's like, well, I'm going through something. I'm going to appreciate even no matter how bad the moment is, like I'm going to appreciate it happening along the way, because once I get to the destination, I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna be a better person once I get there. And then there's gonna be more. So it's not as long as you wake up breathing,
Right.
it's a new day. It's a new day, and
I love
anything
that.
can happen.
You know what? And I'm told on a daily basis, well, as many times as I've heard it seems like almost every day, is that you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
To stay curious.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I am a very curious person, almost obnoxious when it comes to it. I need to know the answers because I already know the question. And sometimes I already know the answer. I just need confirmation on the answer. And it's a female thing. So it's definitely a female thing. Never encountered any men who could do that. But I want to ask questions all the time, which makes me even more of a challenge. So from one challenge to a potential other that you ever find someday, they're definitely worth it. But I very much enjoy talking to you today. I will not keep you any longer, but we will definitely have to do a part 2 of this. And anytime I'm missing a co-host, I'll give you a call.
I did have after my last date, before I let you go,
Yeah.
leave any guides listening in. I had like a 3-step dating tip. It's a little funny, but I learned it from my little bit of dating so far. And
I'm
I want
dying
to
to hear
say for
this.
guys, step one for the guys, make sure she's attracted to you. That's easy to know. Don't hound, the girl that you message her, you talk to her, and she not reciprocating that attraction. Let that go. Step two, I'm going to say let them do all the talking. And if it's a dinner, make sure you let them have some of that wine because that's like a truth serum. You'll get
Oh.
everything honest.
You know what? I'm so glad you brought up step two because you're right. Alcohol is a truth serum. So
It's a
that's the best thing I've heard. Okay,
In
step
the
three.
dating world, this one. Hold on to this one, fellas. Step three, you have two options in step three. You can smash and ghost them, or you can smash and settle the fuck down. Because guess what?
Oh my
The
God.
moment you smash, you unlock the final boss of crazy, and you either gotta run and hide, or you gotta stay with them.
No,
That's all-
is
that's all I have.
that personal experience?
That is.
Oh God. Oh my God. Are you-
Either way, you're gonna get. It's gonna be crazy either way.
So I've only gotten to be surprised this one time. I knew all of everything you were talking about, and this is just interesting because I had a feeling. And it's like with the baby bird, you got to kind of like go like that out the nest and let them go.
Pick it up.
Yeah, I feel like I've done that for you like 4 times, but I feel like get out. But it's the unfortunately how the game goes. I have not put myself in that position since I left my ex in last year, and it's something scary. It's something that I'm not looking forward to, 'cause especially as a woman going out on a date, especially since I've never been on one, which just either makes me sound really pathetic or I just been closeted too much. Now, you know what? I didn't expect more. That's what it was. I didn't expect more from whoever was taking me out or whoever was hanging out with me. Can't blame myself, but I forgot where I was going with that. But I do like your steps. I do like the fact that you gave that advice to guys. I'd go with option B and number 3.
Yeah, number 3. That's
Yeah, number 3. You always go with, what was it? Option B.
Step one is it leads you because when you're mutually attracted, I mean, it goes good from there, and it's you can work from there.
I have one other question for you before I let you go. Do you think that it's easier to date at our age than it was when you were in high school or when you started dating your ex-wife?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. When I met my soon-to-be ex-wife, we were pretty broke and young. So, I mean, I couldn't imagine how going on a date and you really can't afford, yourself.
Do you remember what I said about 20 minutes ago when I said to you, most girls don't give a flying fuck what they don't care. Honestly,
I learned that. Like, because it's some of my early ploys with dating did not matter, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah,
and then
I
switched it up.
I would rather a guy save their money, not spend any money, and be able to make memories.
But being like fun, stable, not necessarily for the dating situation, but that allows you to be you. You're not worried about anything. Like I said, you go out to eat, you're not worried about whether you're going to be splitting the bill with this person or not. Because I literally go out with my friends in my friends groups, and sometimes they cover the whole bill. Sometimes I do. Sometimes nobody.
Well, that's the thing.
Really
Yeah, I love to cover the bill sometimes if I can. Why the fuck not? So
your friends are showing. Yeah, it doesn't. It's just it shouldn't be the important thing that affects.
And I'm 41 years old, so I don't require a lot to make me happy. And it does come with age, too. Like my daughter, she's 12. She loves to ask me for things. I want you to buy me this. Like sometimes I wish she was a puppy because they actually require less. And I love my human child, but just constantly. It's like dating. Like if I were a guy and I dated it. Yeah. I told her it is like dating without the commitment. Because it's, can you buy me this? Can you buy me that? Yo, bro. and dude. So I don't know. I just told her, I was like, I feel so bad for whoever you end up with. She's like, I don't have to end up with anybody. And I'm like, it's probably cool if you stay single for a while and worry about Sophia.
Go from there.
Yeah. But I will let you go. This has been an absolute joy. I just want to tell everybody out there, Sex Edit and Everything in Between is on Facebook. Don't forget to check out Lug Nuts, which is also a podcast on the Perjangers platform. Also, Tales of the Hunted with so Lug Nuts is Matt Bucarell and Steve Bucarell. Lug Nuts or Tales of the Hunted is Frank Percy and Matt Bucarell. Get all those guys on your podcast. Get listening to that, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
And I'll say I'll be happy to co-host in the future. And any single ladies out there, I'm actor Tony B on TikTok, IG. Hit me up.
So as Tony just said, he is a single man, 38. Yep, you can find him on Facebook.
I got
37.
I got like a week and a half.
But yes, ladies, he is available, and yeah, maybe we'll do a dating show. But yeah,
Pop the balloon.
Oh Jesus! On that note, it was great to see you, and I will talk to you later.
Hey, I'll see you guys.
All right, see you. Bye.
Bye.